Okay, we are back in action. I tried to do it from outside today and it wasn't having it. So here I be. So the topic for today is how to not be distracted by high energy, high sensation. You know, this week I've been talking about when you're bringing the future into now and you're affecting big change and you're birthing signature work, emotions get high, energy gets high, it feels really intense. And what do you want to do? You want to go to sleep, you want to stop, you want to go, waste 3 hours on Facebook or whatever social media tool that you use. And so how do you not do that? How do you stay in the power, the energy, the sensation? Because there's so much fertileness, there's so much manifestation and so much power ability in taking that high sensation, that intensity, and sitting with it powerfully and intentionally and focused enough so that you literally create big things now. And this is happening in my life right now. And this is a practice. I want to say, first of all, this is such a practice. You are going to get distracted and decide to go, sleep for a few hours or go for a much longer walk than normal or, waste time on, like, you're going to do that. And that's okay. Like, don't beat yourself up. It is so abnormal. Like what I'm talking about is not normal. This is not normal conversation. This is not a normal way to be a human being. What I'm talking about is for those of us who are doing signature work, who are unusually powerful. And I know this so clearly now because of my own reality and the women who are being magnetized to my space. A lot is going to unfold in the coming months, but what I know is that as you are bringing the future into now and you are embodying and really practicing being among the anomaly group, because this is an anomaly position, it really is. As you are doing this, more of us will start to magnetize to each other. Okay, so how do you, how is like, well, how? First of all, you practice, right? But I'm going to give you some pieces that you can begin to implement into your practice today. But I just wanted to really preface it with the fact that this is a practice, that this is hard, that you will mess up, that whatever label you want to put on it, that you will make mistakes, and that is what makes you masterful. You will never get to mastery if you don't mess up over and over and over again. And I mean, this is what I mean right here. So one of my fights for years has been sugar and liquor. It has just been the things. Like I have been able to beat so much and overcome so much and transform so much. But the two things that have persisted, and have required a much larger sword, if you will, right? I wrote a post last night. I told you guys I write a lot that the world never sees, but writing really helps me to transform things and to sit inside the seat of myself with a level of personal power and sternness that I need so that I'm not knocked off my rocker when something in the outside world comes. And so I did some writing, and last year was like my year of, I've been talking about fighting sugar and liquor for years. And then last year, it was just like toward the end of last year, it was like, something's gonna have to happen. And I'm aware of how when I'm in the middle of something big, like for you, liquor and sugar could be nothing. So you just plug in whatever your big thing is. Mine has been liquor and sugar. And I remember toward the end of last year, I'm like, this is going to have to break. Like, there's no way I can be in full sovereignty with these substances that seem to have so much power and presence in my life. There's no way I can be sovereign. And yet, how do I fight this? The typical, I never did the 12-step AA, and it wasn't even addiction like that. Like I wasn't like an addict like that, but it was something that I drank when I was up, I drank when I was down, I drank when I had like, in between time. It was like the thing that I did. It was my social thing, it was my joyful thing. And yet I could feel it taking energy from me. I could feel it, where, or even the way I would feel in the morning, or my level of, I wanted more choice around it. And so I said something. I remember having this conversation with myself around November, because remember I spent a couple months in the mountains and I was drinking a lot of wine, mostly wine, mostly wine. And still, I was just like, when I knew I was coming into my work and coming to be much more visible in my work and this new path that I was taking, that the liquor was going to have to be removed, and yet I didn't know how. And I wanted it to be true. I didn't want it to be a 30-day. I wanted it to be a full lifestyle, rest of my life thing, not just what I historically had done would be, okay, let me do this for 2 weeks or 30 days or 60 days or something like that. And so when I was like, something's going to have to give, I started to feel this sensation in my body rise. And like, because it was in me, and I knew that every time I'd see a bar, I'd feel the sensation, because like I would look at bars and just joy would run through my body. Like that's how much of a connection that I would have with the experience of having cocktails, sitting at the bar, talking to the bartender, maybe meeting somebody, and I go to beautiful bars. So I love beautiful environments. So this was such a ritual for me, and there was such a connection to it for me. And so I would just look at bars, and like this high sensation would go through my body. And then I, had to practice that mind management that I talked to you guys about where it's like looking at the feeling of it and looking at the mind of it and then looking with the long game of it. And yet still the pull, right? So I had this is what happened. So I spoke in London in November. And so I checked into my hotel. It was a really nice hotel. They had a bar, right? And I had time. I was early. And so I decided to have a cocktail. I checked into my hotel, got myself settled. Then I went to the hotel bar and I had a cocktail. This was November of last year. And I was scheduled to speak like 3 hours later or something like that. So had my and what made me even remember this to be able to share it in today's video was I was looking through some pictures, the history of my pictures over the last several months. I was looking at them last night, and I had taken a picture of my midsection. So in my hotel room, there was this wall that was all mirror. The whole wall was a mirror. And I had taken a picture of myself, and I'd specifically taken a picture of my midsection because that's where my fat goes. That's where it shows. And I was like, look at this. Like, this is going to have to give. This is going to have to go. And this is me talking about the sugar and the liquor. Like, I don't know how this is going to go, but this is going to have to go. And so I was looking at that picture last night. And as I was preparing this morning to be here with you, I was like, okay, I think this could be helpful and relevant for you. And so I had that cocktail, got dressed, went to my speaking event, spoke, and the event host gave me a large bottle of whiskey as a gift. Now, I don't even drink whiskey. Matter of fact, I hate whiskey. Whiskey, scotch, not my things. So I go back to my hotel room, and I have a bar in my room, a full bar, glasses, everything. Do you know I poured a glass of whiskey? Not only did I pour a glass of whiskey, I then took my glass of whiskey, went down to the hotel bar and ordered a glass of wine and had dinner. So I'm literally at the dinner table by myself with a glass of wine and a glass of whiskey side by side. And so I'm looking at myself with this high, and while all this is going on, I'm feeling all the effects of being out of my power and being out of sovereignty and choice with this liquor thing, while still having this high sensation. Crazy, I know. And yet this has been my reality for quite a while. In and out, right? In and out of this experience. So, okay, that was end of November last year. 2 weeks later, I'm in San Francisco. And I'm going to this women's entrepreneurial founder event. And I'm early. I'm early. I love it. And so I go to the event to find, this is what I mean by, like, it was really time to clean this up. I go there to ask them, and I'm early. I know I'm early. I'm not expected to like go in and start and everything. But when I arrive, I see, and I took Uber there. So I see that they have, like, they're setting up and everything. And I go in and I ask them, are they going to have a bar there? Because I want to be able to drink and socialize and do my thing, right? And they say, what did they say? That they were going to have wine. I think they said they were going to have wine. But this is like an hour. I'm like 45 minutes to an hour early. I went and found, because I wanted a full bar. I went around the area and found a full bar. Went there, chugged down, I think 2 cocktails. Ended up having this, and it was a nice bar. I ended up talking to this really smart and cool attorney. He and I were talking. It was just, that thing that brings me joy and delight. Because remember, I told you I drink when I'm up, I drink when I'm down, I drink when I got some in between. So I have some appetizers there, I have a couple cocktails. Then I go to the event, which is just like 3 blocks away, do what I'm doing there, get a glass of wine. And in this whole, this is like a 2-3 hour time span, something like that, the sensation in my body is high. And I'm noticing how quickly I'm drinking because the sensation is so high. And I'm just like out of myself. This is December. This is like a month and a half ago. Okay. And I'm just like, I can feel like the pressure of both my decision to be in sovereignty around this and the pattern that I'm in around drinking just up, down, round and round with no real choice and real discipline around how much liquor I'm consuming. And so it was like such a spiral that day. And it wasn't like a down, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh, this is horrible. It wasn't even like that. It was just like the out of powerness about it. It was fun. It was joyful as far as the way that I typically experience my liquor consumption. But the way it felt to be the way it would just, it calls and I respond. And I have no power over that. And it was just like, this is what I mean by not being distracted in high sensation. And so what happened for me was the next day. So, because remember, I'm very aware of everything that's going on in this tornado that I'm in. And it felt like a tornado because it wasn't like I was standing and was like, I would like a cocktail and I'm going to go have one cocktail and that's it. It was just like, I was just like, cocktail, cocktail, drink, drink, cocktail, cocktail, drink, drink. Out of the power of it. Remember, for me, it's about a life of power. Not just power with money, not just power with men. I'm talking about a full life of power where I have sovereignty, where you have sovereignty in all things. And this is a tall order. This is not for everybody. This is not for the average person. This is probably not for the average person even looking at this video. I mean, we're talking about having such reverence and care for your life, for your body, for your work, for your career path, for your spirituality, that you demand and require that you are in choice, especially in the areas that are tantamount, that are compelling, that are riveting just for you. For me, it has been liquor and sugar. So the next morning after this tornado, and remember, this is already after the London event and also after the years of going in and out of non-choice around my liquor consumption. The next morning, I felt it in my body, like I had been calling forth. Remember, I talked about bringing the future into now, bringing the future into now. Now! The next morning, the gravity was there. The gravity, everything that I had been swirling in about, this must change, this must change. And this must change thing has been 2 years in the making. This must change, this must change. And then this is what I want to add here before I go any further. Do not beat yourself up when you don't make instant change. Do not create story. I think it was yesterday I talked about how we create story. We look at the facts of a thing, and then from the facts we create a story, and then create another story, and then create a bunch of feelings around that story. And then before you know, we're way over there with a bunch of stories that are unreal, that we've made real, and then deepen them in our consciousness with emotion. So do not beat yourself up. This true sovereignty, true choice, especially around things that affect our biology. Liquor, food, sugar affects our biology. And then particularly in the American food supply, sugar is in everything. It's in, sugar is in milk, it's in bread. What the fuck are you doing putting sugar in bread? Sugar is in bread, sugar is in things you wouldn't even think sugar. I remember somebody told me to look at the label and it had sugar and I was like, what? It's just everywhere. Sugar is everywhere. So it seeks in to the food supply, and like you have to be super vigilant and care, unusually care about your food consumption to really be diligent about not only what you eat, but the sugar that's in the food that you eat. Okay, so the next day after this tornado, the gravity is there. The gravity of the desire to change, everything that just happened that day before, the 2 years leading up to that, the experience I had in London, and the gravity was there, and the level of, quite frankly, disgust. This is very personal to me, where it hurts. It's like, it's not even it feels like such a violation. That's when I know I hit it, when I cry. It feels like such a violation to my highness to be out of sovereignty. Such a violation to the truth of who I am. Such a violation to what I have been endowed with. The signature work, the signature power, the medicine that is me. When I say this for me, I say it for you too. Feels like such a violation to be out of sovereignty. So this wasn't even just the violation on that day, which was December 12th, by the way. This wasn't just a violation in London. This has been a violation for years. And I created success over the last several years. And yet there's no way I was going to be able to go beyond that, out of sovereignty, and be happy and internally aligned. This has zero to do with the outside world, everything to do with what's going on in here. So that's the story part. Now, first of all, I share those stories with you so you can see yourself in that. The gravity, the decision was made in that gravity. It's when you get pulled, when life is good, right? And the money is flowing and everybody loves you and the sun is shining and all that, we typically don't create change. But when that gravity of the thing that we desire and then mixed with emotion, this is the concoction, right? This is why that tension is so good. This is why me ruffling your feathers and really scratching with my words, and even when we work together, like, it's uncomfortable working with me. It should be. It should not be comfortable and pleasant and nice and you make me feel so good. And it needs to have gravity, because then that's where you make the decision that's from a core place. That's you, or it's like you in true sovereignty, because that's the level of power that you're going to have to root into to be able to handle the intensity of emotions. The intensity, like what, if you are going to have a chateau, if you are going to write a book, if you are going to speak on stages and speak in front of 1,000 people, 1,000 eyeballs on you, or 2,000, right? Because 2 eyes on each, 2,000 eyeballs on you. The high sensation of that, to be in that and not, shrink and, oh God, oh, shit, I'm nervous, I'm excited. What are they gonna think? Who am I? Oh, like, you got to learn how to be able to sit with gravity and then be able to navigate gravity with power and truth and ease and personal sovereignty. See? So that gravity on December 13th, was the day after the tornado, was exactly what I needed, exactly what you need to be able to say, to put that pressure, that tension, it's like gravity, tension, pressure, for you to then come to, right? And that's not always necessary. Let me be clear, right? Remember, it's a different sword for each fight, right? In this instance, which was something that has been affected my biology, my brain, right? For so long. It required that level of tension. Right? So how you navigate the high sensation is allowing yourself to sit with the gravitous pull and practice, like I said earlier. Practice going in the direction that's necessary for you. For me, the direction was removing liquor. I have not drank since December 12th. And I decided I wasn't drinking for a whole year. And my whole body got the memo. This is not like, I'm going to try my best. I hope we'll see. That's what it is. A whole year? Please. I've never gone more than 45 days without drinking in the last decade. Well, I don't know about decade, but several years. So how do you navigate high sensation, high emotion so you're not distracted from your big vision, from wherever the direction is that you're going? Practice sitting in high sensation and pushing forward. So for one example could be, and I got to go here, we're already over time and I have a call in like 4 or 5 minutes. One example is maybe high sensation for you is writing an unfiltered blog post or doing an unfiltered video and putting it out there. Maybe high sensation for you is having a no holds bar conversation with your mom, with your spouse or your peer, somebody, a friend, right? Whatever that thing is that causes high sensation for you, do it on purpose with the intent to practice not being distracted as you move forward. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, this is the fucking big kahuna for doing like the high sensation of being powerful in the world. The feeling of, the energy of people coming at you, of money, like big money is big energy. Can you handle the sensation of big money coming into your possession? Right? Like all this stuff is energy, emotions, money, people, opinions, eyeballs, perceived feedback and concept, right? Practice, practice, practice. So your homework is, and I'm getting ready to go, choose an item that you know triggers high sensation for you. It could be anything, but it must be personal and signature to you. Consciously and intentionally and purposefully activate it, walk into it. Before you walk into it, get clear that you're doing this on purpose, why you're doing it, write it down, have this conversation with yourself or another person, and look at what do you want the end result to look like. Is it that you want to feel free? Is it that you want to be heard? Is it that you want to have a certain amount of money? You want to see a certain effect, change, whatever that thing is, and practice moving toward that while in the high sensation. Do that over and over. Do it where it doesn't make sense. Do it where you're shaking. Do it where you can barely get the words out. Do it where you're terrified. Do it where you're sweating. Do it where you want to disappear and go to sleep. Do it, do it, do it over and over and over. This is how you get into sovereignty. And the decision about sugar was made yesterday evening. My body got the memo. Oh my God, I'm ready like never before. I want this for you. We were made for this. We were made for this. We just need a variety of swords.